principal ma'am, respected teachers, and my lovely friends watching the video. Today, me and my friends are fortunate enough to stand before you virtually amidst the pandemic and present a short film on the topic, The Formation of Shadow. Hope you all will love the video and shower your best wishes upon us to do even more better.
Properties of light. Light, after being produced from a luminous object, travels in a straight line. A straight line along which the light travels is known as a ray of light. A collection of a ray of light is called a beam of light. This is called irregular reflection of light. The primary property of visible light are intensity, propagation, direction, frequency or wavelength, spectrum, and polarization, while its speed in a vacuum 29 crore 97 lakh 92,458 meter per second is one of the fundamental constants of nature.
Formation of shadow. There is some obstruction in the path of light. We see a shadow. Light is always needed for a shadow to form. Shadow can never be formed in total darkness. Let us see how a shadow is formed. If an opaque object is placed in the path of light, the light cannot pass through it. The rays are stopped from going to the other side of the opaque body, and the space behind the body does not receive any light from the source. The space behind the opaque object where light cannot reach is called shadow or the formation of shadow. Thus, shadows are formed when light is stopped by object.
Sources of light. So basically there are two types of sources of light, namely the luminous and the non-luminous light source. Luminous light sources are basically the objects which can emit light energy on their own. They can cause the sensation of light and are visible as they emit light on their own. Examples of luminous light include sun, candle, tube light, etc. Now moving on to the non-luminous light sources, they are basically the objects which cannot emit light on their own. They cannot cause a sensation of light and are only visible because they reflect the light of the luminous light sources. Examples of non-luminous lights include moon, planets, trees, etc.
Depending on behavior towards light, all the materials can be classified as transparent, translucent and opaque. We know that light travels in a straight line. It cannot bend to travel around objects. When light is blocked by an object, a dark area or a shadow is formed. Since light can pass through transparent objects easily, so shadow cannot be formed when light passes through transparent objects like air, water, etc. Now, light is blocked through translucent objects partially. So, translucent objects like plastic, paper, etc. makes a faint shadow. Now, as opaque object does not allow light to pass through them, so we get total shadow called umbra when an opaque object comes in the path of light.
We are going to present a short experiment to show the formation of shadow. So, let's get started. In this experiment, we take a source of light, an opaque object, and a sheet which will act as a screen in this experiment. We see that when we switch on the light, there's a black spot on the screen. The black spot so formed is what we call as shadow. The shadow is formed because the opaque object creates hindrance to the flow of light and the light gets reflected. Thus, two things are quite clear from this experiment. Firstly, the opaque object does not allow the light to pass through it, and secondly, the shadows are formed to the opposite direction of the source of light.
Conclusion. So here we come to see that shadows are formed when light is incident on an opaque object creates hindrance to the flow of light through it, as a result of which lights get reflected, and this creates a black spot on the back of an opaque object. This black spot is what we call a shadow. Thus it is clear that shadows are always formed to the opposite direction of the source of the light, and an opaque object must be placed in the path of the light for the shadow to form. So here we like to finish our short film and would like again to thank our honorable principal ma'am and my physics teacher Samudra sir for guiding us all throughout our project.